Hello! Today we are here to discuss Yak. Just Yak.
Just Yak. Yeah, the animal, not like...
Well, the game.
Not coughing up something, but yeah.
That's rather disgusting, Rob. All right. But before you hear any more disgusting comments from Robert, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification down there so you can be caught up on all of our flemmy comments.
Yeah, and hopefully while you're watching them, you're not yakking anything up.
All right. Rob, can you yak out some stats on this game, please?
Absolutely. The game was released in 2022, designed by Michael Liu and art by Chris Williams, published by Asmodee. Overall rank is 6,022, rated at 6.6. It's rated at for ages 8 and up, which I could totally see that.
Yep.
With a play time of 30 to 60 minutes. The MSRP is $44.99, a little bit cheaper at Card House, but at $35.99. But Noble Knight had it at a little bit cheaper at $35. So
wow,
that didn't happen very often.
Okay, so as far as what you get in the box, I was really surprised.
I was really impressed with some with the components.
You get these really awesome Yak wooden figures. They're actually pretty heavy.
With horns.
And you have to add the horns. They're included, but you have to attach them. And then you get a little carriage that apparently you drill holes into Yaks to pull carts. Right. I had no idea. And then you have little cardboard inserts to tell you what the carts can and can't carry. You get a bunch of little wooden blocks. Mm-hmm. So if the game's almost worth it just for the blocks if you wanted to play. I mean, they're like miniature blocks. You could build little tiny houses. And then a really nice board. It's very, it's very functional. Yeah. It's not super large. It fits well on the table. You have inlaid little personal boards.
Player boards.
Yurts. Well, the yurt is, I think, the tower on there, the silo. But then you have an area for building your tower, which is inlaid. Mm-hmm. You also have cards. The cards have a slight, so they're kind of glossy. I don't think they're really linen finish on them. But they're not bad thickness.
Yeah, they're not bad thickness, but yeah, they're glossy.
And then you get a bag for holding all of the blocks. You get a mountainous region that's a cardboard area that you build up. All in all, it's not bad. I mean, these kind of figures look like when you get like Playmobil or the little figures that you get from when you're a kid. I don't know if they even make Playmobiles anymore, so I'm probably dating myself there a bit.
I think they do, though.
All right, so, but yeah, these are really cool looking, and, I was really surprised when I got this out how nice it was. The wheels actually roll on the carts as they go. I mean, the kids would have just fun playing with this.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like it's a very light resource management game. Mm-hmm. It's not heavy at all. It's got a little bit of a puzzler to it.
I mean, and you pointed it out, but I think the most complicated part is going to be the scoring, which we'll talk about at the end. But
yeah, I mean, it's a very simple action. Mm-hmm. You got 3 different actions you can take with cards. So
and that's
it's a good introductory game to resource management and puzzling type games for little ones. But that's why I'm surprised it's actually just 8 and up. But it actually, I think, is really good for that age range.
I think so,
younger
too.
One. So all in all, I'm probably going to give this 8.5, I think.
I was thinking 8.5, just because, I mean, just look at it. It's so cool.
I would just want to play with the pieces. So, as far as theme, I mean, you're in a mountainous region of the Himalayas. You've got the Yaks hauling carts with different stones for you. And you've got food that you're basically bartering with the cart driver that doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Yak is the cart driver. I don't know.
But, I mean, thematically, it's light, but it's there.
Yeah.
I don't feel it's just layered on.
No.
So although I do feel some theme coming out of this, and I really like it.
Yeah. And, I'm not sure exactly why. I mean, functionally, I understand why you need the clouds to be a block shape.
Yeah.
But I don't think Himalayas have block shaped clouds except for in maybe Minecraft.
Have you ever been to the Himalayas before?
No, but
you can't say with certainty.
Okay. But, apart from that, I mean, you get wooden shaped milk and chicken and bread, although the bread's kind of just an amorphous blob. But I think that they did really well at functionally integrating the pieces into the gameplay, into the theme. And the carts, when the clouds do come, the carts get confused and the Yaks will turn around on you.
And it's for a good price, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's relatively cheap. So I think that's probably why they don't, the components aren't that obvious. I mean, they're shaped, but like the blocks and all that, it makes sense because that probably helped keep the price down.
Yeah, well, I mean, for what you pay,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
A lot of
you're
nice
getting a lot,
pieces.
And so,
I mean, thematically, I'm probably going to give this an 8 as well. I mean, an 8. I don't think 8.5, but 8. I think it's a good, solid theme especially for a kid.
Yeah, I think I'm going a little bit lower. I think I'm at a 7.5 because it is a light theme, but it's there and it doesn't feel pasted on, which is the best part.
Moving on to the rule book. So you have first of all, threefold.
The thing he hates. Trifold rulebook.
Well, I mean, this one in particular, because I have a little side table I use while I'm trying to get the pieces out and then read the rules. Well, this doesn't fit nicely on the side table, so I had to keep maneuvering it.
He has to complain about something.
Well, that's the whole point. We're critiquing, right? This is why I do it, so I can complain and nobody can stop me. I mean, they can stop watching.
Well, that's true, but we don't want you to.
We know what you do. You want to make sure you continue watching because you want to see how many things I flub up while I'm going over it. All right, so yeah, it's 6 pages in length, but it's a trifold. It does have nice pictures for the components. Mm-hmm. Where we struggled a bit was when it got into the terminology of the yurt and the different things. It wasn't clear what those things were from the where the setup section was.
That, and I think we wasn't confused, but we're old and blind, so some of the colors for the cards didn't quite.
Yes, the card colors.
Through.
Well, the blocks they chose like they got a lot of different colors.
A lot of different colors,
but there's a lot of the same shades of different colors.
Shades. Yeah. So it's like they got a dark gray and a light gray, dark blue and a light blue, and they're pretty close to each other.
A dark orange and a light orange are real problematic, and and the yellow too. So they kind of all blend together. So if you do have color blindness issues, this game is going to be difficult for you. Yeah. And especially when you have these bonus cards that are added. So this is a variant. You don't have to play with them. But I think, for us to have an interest in the game, you're probably going to want something like that. For kids, it'd be fine to leave them out. But yeah, as far as the color schemes, it's very difficult when you look at the card to figure out which shade of orange it's referring to.
Which is important in this part of that we're talking about because it comes into understanding how to play the game.
Yeah,
because that's scoring. So.
Yes. So, that was our biggest difficulty. The rules themselves were pretty straightforward and easy. Mm-hmm. The setup was really the hardest part. And they have a little tiny picture that shows you the setup for 4 players and then an even smaller picture for 2 and 3 players. So, it's not, great as far as the setup pictures, but it's not hard because most of the stuff is pretty easy. I mean, there's like a section here that's highlighted where the cards go. You put these cards on the trail, it's pretty clear.
But I can see that being a problem because since the mechanics, I think, are good for an 8-year-old or up, setup may be tough for an 8-year-old. If we had that little amount of difficulty with it, I could imagine an 8-year-old probably having a little bit more.
Well, given the fact that you had to assemble and add these little cardboard things that tell you what not to put in them, and then it tells you how to arrange things. If you didn't have these things in there, you wouldn't know what to do. So you have to assemble that. And I guess it does mention in the cart assembly to add that cardboard.
You just might need to have someone a little bit older that can help set up, and then I think once they learn how to set it up, they're fine. You just let them go.
But once you got it down once, it's super easy.
It's super easy.
All right, so I'm going to probably give the rule book. I'll probably give it a 7. It's fine. It does a decent job. I wish the pictures were a little bigger. Wish they would have done a little bit more clarity in the setup, and I don't like the trifoldness or the fact that they have the words like yurt and such in there without really illustrating what they are up front.
Yeah, but no negative points because I didn't go to sleep while I was reading it.
Yeah, well, it wasn't long enough for you.
That's not the point.
Yeah, I would have had to play a lullaby for you. All right, so let's talk about the gameplay. So at the beginning of the game, depending on player count, you're going to have a number of carts. For 4 players, you'd have 4 carts out. For 2 or 3 players, you have 3 carts out. And specifically, each one of the 3 carts has one item that you cannot trade with, and it cannot carry. So this cart, for example, has no chicken, so you can only put bread and milk on it. The other carts, milk and bread. Then for a 4th player, they actually have one that has basically a global, you can have anything, but you can only trade 2 items with it. So you have to selectively choose which 2 you're going to trade. So it can hold all of them, though. Then there is the mountain region, which has 4 spots on it. The 4th spot has a cloud token that you put on there just to start the game with. You then are going to basically fill each of these carts at the beginning of the game with 3 wooden blocks from the bag. Now,
and we did take 1 color out.
That was for a 3-player
game.
Yeah. So we removed 1 color for a 3-player game. You would leave all the colors in for 4.
Which honestly, I think would be, I have a hard time fitting in that because we had a hard time pulling some of those out with the ones
this
we
bag was barely big enough to
for
fit
a 3-player. So for a 4-player, I don't think it'll be big enough.
It's going to be tight. Yeah, it'd be really tough. Then after we've got the setup done, each player gets to start with 1 resource of each milk, bread, and chicken. And you would not normally have blocks on your board. You would look basically just like this board here. So at the beginning of the game, 1 person's going to have the baby yak. It's supposed to be the hairiest person, so Rob got it this game. He's the one that looks most yak-like.
Yeah.
And then each player chooses 1 of 3 action cards that they have at the beginning of the game. Everybody's got the same 3 cards. First action lets you basically take all of 1 resource from the cart. So,
up to 8.
Yeah, well, you can have a max of 8 in your storage.
In your storage area.
So at the beginning you'd have 3, so the most you can take is 5.
And a cart can hold up to 9 items.
Yes, the cart can have 9 items total, 3 in each slot. So you could take if it was all milk, you could take all the milk. It's up to the 8 that you can hold. But the thing is you can't trade it back to the cart with milk. So you got to be careful because basically every time you're checking the carts, you want to look for the.
You want to see what the next one is.
That's coming.
Yeah, because you don't want to get a bunch of milk and the next cart be no milk.
And and that's usually going to help. There's cases where the carts will change directions on you, though,
sometimes.
Which we'll get to. After you do that, then you reach into the bag and you draw 1 blind and you add a block to the cart that you took all the resources from, up to a max of 4.
Right.
It cannot have more than 4 stone on a cart. So that's 1 action. The second action is in the center of the board. Any resources that were left over at the beginning, you will then get a chance to draw 1 or 2 from the market, and you can take whichever resources you want from there and add them to your yurt. And then you get to draw 3 tiles from the bag, choose 1 to keep, and add it to any card. It doesn't have to be the one in front of you.
It makes a little bit of strategy there.
Yeah, because you can put it where you think it's coming to you.
Yeah, so a little bit of a strategy there. I like that.
So then the last one is building. So if you build, you pay from your yurt food onto the cart, but it can again not be the type that's the cart's not allowed to hold. And you can pay 1 for 1 stone off the cart, 3 for 2 stone, or 5 for 3 stone, which is the max you can take. Now there are special stones, the crystal stones, which are the light blue ones that Rob managed to get every one of. And when they come up, you can take those, but you have to pay an extra food
for each one
you take. But the good news is they're wild, so you can make them any color you want. You can either make them the color that matches one that's touching, which is going to score you points on 1 track, or you can make them be a different color to create a different set, which will give you points on another track.
But you don't have to declare it until the end of the game.
Yeah, right. You can wait until the end of the game to decide. That's really all there is to the gameplay. It's just those 3 actions. Yeah. And, there's whoever has the baby yak plays their card first.
Yeah, you both select at the same time, and then you reveal, but then the person has the yak first.
So when they take their turn, when they draw from this bag, one thing that can impact you is there are white blocks in here.
Which are clouds.
This one, and it's a cloud. Whenever that is, the fog rolls in. So if you choose that block, all of the yaks change direction because they get confused in the fog. And at that point, it's going to reverse the order. So you've got to be strategically looking at where those blocks are going. Thing is, we only got 1 of these to come up.
So it didn't really affect us. But
so there's basically 4 slots on the mountain for it. Once the 4th one gets, you remove the cloud from the board, put all the clouds back into the box or into the bag, and keep drawing. So there's more clouds back in there to come out. And eventually those are going to come out, and then you're going to end up with just basically one that's left in there that you recycle back and forth. But I thought that was clever. We just didn't see it happen. We just never drew them.
Yeah.
But I think it could impact the game a lot more dramatically if the more frequently they come up.
Especially when you're like pulling all one thing, thinking that the next card's going to be, oh, I'm going to buy 3 blocks, and then it switches on you. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, I think this game will be more interesting with those clouds coming out more because you're going to see more interaction of the directions and have to decide. It's like you put the block on and somebody draws it and flips it around on you. And it's like, oh, darn it.
Which would definitely be more, I think, prevalent if you have multiplayer. It was just us playing. I think if Sarah and or Miranda was able to play with us, it might have made it quite a bit more dramatic as well.
But then when you're building, you're going to place them in a pyramid structure up until the point where you reach a single top. And then you're going to build on top of that as an antenna, basically, on your pyramid. But the game will end whenever somebody completes their 4th row, which basically is 2 blocks wide.
Right.
And at that point, you play one more round after that. And so you could potentially build more up still on your next turn, which I did. And then there's the final scoring. So the final scoring, the way it works, they have a nice pad in there for it. It's really, really well done. But basically, it has all the combinations of the counts of how many touching color you have. So in this case, I have a lot of 3s. I don't have anything more than 3, which you can get a lot of points if you get up to 7. But basically, it ranges from 3 points for having 2 connecting, up to 21 points for having 7 or more. So there's no benefit to getting more than 7. So you want to kind of cap it at 7. Then the second way of scoring is for having different sections on your pyramid, and that's where I got my points.
Right.
So I had more than 7, so I maxed out, and I got 20 points for that. So it has a minimum for 3 different sections of 4. And can go up to 7 or more for 20. So you can strategically plan how to basically best combine to get the max out of those points. You got most of your points from the big areas that you connected, particularly with those wilds.
Yeah.
I got most of my points from the different sections, and then beyond that, there's bonus points for each individual block that you don't use as a pair. So I had like 5 points for that. And then you get points for who has the most leftover resources, which is
only 2.
It's only 2 points. Whoever triggers the end of the game gets a 3-point bonus for taking this.
Pagoda.
Well, it's not a pagoda. There was a name for it
or something.
It was like I can't remember exactly what the term was for it, but
it's that cardboard piece.
Yeah, this little building, which I guess is frequently found on the Himalayas. And then you get an alternate variant, lets you add 3 in-game scoring cards, which we did. The game is very simple, so
there's no reason not to.
So one of the, some of the cards will have, if you don't have a certain type of block, you lose victory points. And then certain ones will be how you orient the blocks. So like this case, the red one, if you had it in the 2nd or the 4th row, you got 2 points per block.
Yeah.
But it had to be red. And in this one, it had to be the light orange color, we determined. And it was 1 point, but it was for all the different triangle sections on the edge, which I got 3 of mine in that pattern. You basically can add all those points together at the end, and whoever has the most points wins. And that's basically the game. I thought this was a very light puzzle game. It's definitely something that's good as an entry-level novice gamer game. And especially if you have little ones, because the pieces are just calling out for a little one to play with.
There's a lot of table presence to this game.
Yeah.
Kids would love it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that would be fun if you have little ones or kids you want to play with, and try to introduce them so that they could start learning advanced strategy games. This is very novice level. But I think it'd be more interesting with little ones, because I think they're going to enjoy moving the little carts around.
Yeah.
I know Sarah, when we were first starting out, she was going to play, and then she got hungry and kind of disappeared somewhere. She may still be in the house. We don't know. No, she's actually in bed. It's past bedtime. But yeah, she was wanting to play with the carts and put them together, because it was like a Lego puzzle, putting them to assemble them.
It was really neat.
So it was fun just seeing her reaction to the game. I would have liked to have seen how she reacted playing it, and I'm sure she would have given it a very random score during the scoring. But as far as holding my interest, it's not my kind of game. No. It's definitely something designed more for kids.
I would like to play it with kids,
yeah,
but I'm not going to play it by choice.
Right.
Without children.
Yes. I'm going to probably try to take out my bias towards away from an entry-level game that's for kids, designed for kids. If I, given the fact that I like to have games where I can play them with Sarah, I'm probably going to give this one a 7. Just because I think it does introduce you to the resource management, the puzzle aspects. Mm-hmm. It's not very thought-provoking. It's not something, we played 2 puzzlers today. We played the Splendor Duel and this. I definitely prefer Splendor Duel to this.
Sure.
So I think 6.5 to 7 is where I'm at on this one.
I think I'm a little bit higher. I can't take away from the component quality. It's so good.
Yeah.
The art is really nice. It's a very pretty game. And the fact that there's just not that many games that granted, I don't own this, but I think that I would have as much fun playing with like Sarah or another kid as the kid themselves would have fun. Yeah. So I'm just going to give it a bonus point there, and I'm at I think I'm 7.5.
Okay.
So
right. Well, that's our thoughts on Yak.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you haven't seen this, check it out. If you got little ones, definitely check it out. But yeah, it's definitely interesting very puzzly, and you can play with them after you're done, which we might sit here and do.
We might do that.
All right. So until next time, talk to you later.
Bye.